So I was out cutting poles for this makeshift trellis, and this is for, well, I've got Napa cabbage in the middle, Napa cabbage seed, and I just learned that tongue of fire, there is such a thing as a pole bean variety. All these years I never knew that, so I bought some. I had to special order them, and they're quite finicky from what I gather. They need full sun, they need warm soil, they need well-draining soil, they need some compost. They do better in raised beds. The soil is at least 16 inches deep, and got them planted. And then I read, you always want to Google or research difficulty in growing something new, or the challenges in growing something new. I didn't even think to do that until after I planted them. They do not like wind, folks. They don't like wind. And look, right out where it gets the most wind of all. So we will see how that works. Yes, I've got to mow, folks. I've got to mow. I mow right down to the bog. But while I am here, I had some leftover. I dug some holes there for some grapes a few years ago, left it in a pile, and decided to start taking some of that pile and its loam and filling in. I did this yesterday, filling in the low spots, so when I mow, I don't get whiplash. So all this has got to go, but this is how I choose to do this grape trellis here. And it's pretty simple. It's just T-posts and some kind of cable. I don't know what it was. It was some kind of braided, galvanized something. I've got a roll of it. Don't know where I got it, but that's what I choose to do for my grapes. And my grapes are just planted. Matter of fact, this one was transplanted yesterday. And this is what is that? It's a pink reliance. See, that's why I have to label everything, folks, because I forget. So back to this. Some of these poles were 10 feet, 12 feet. And what I did was I had half a plastic barrel I cut in half. This one has an empty bottom because I used the other one for something else. So on the bottom, the first 10, 12 inches, I have compost. On the top, I have a mix of compost and loam. And then on the very top, I've just got loam. So in these poles, they go all the way down. And where the wind is pretty rugged here, on the northwest side of this bucket, this whatever you call that, is dug into the ground 8 inches. And on the southeast, that one over there is dug in 8 inches. So if this ever gets top heavy with plants and a big gust of wind comes up, it doesn't fall over. So I figured I was safe with 2 of these poles stuck in. Now these other poles, these are all maple except for this one. This one is a birch sapling. I drove it. Well, before I even filled this bucket here, I put these down ground level and put 1 screw right there. And they're pretty solid. They're not going anywhere. But it's not going to tip over either. But while I was gathering the poles for this, let me show you what I found. So down through here, there's my tip tops of my poles. I'm gonna trim that down. So I was down here collecting poles in the brush, in the woods here, and I happened to look down and found these lady slipper. So I looked around, and there's 4 right here. And folks, I'm mowing through here, so I know I've been mowing them over. Like here's one here that apparently I mowed over, right? There's some right there. There's all kinds of them in through here. So I come over here, and I've got a big patch of lady slipper here. Now, when I first moved in here, let's go for a walk. When I first moved in here, I was having my house was being built, and I needed a woodshed because I moved in the winter. So, where the woodshed was one lady slipper, and I carefully transplanted it. The mosquitoes are just too bad. I carefully transplanted it over here, but I think I found a good spot to plant them, because I don't believe those spread that fast in 10 years. I don't believe they spread that fast in 10 years. Maybe. But here's a nice decent patch of lady slippers. So the mosquitoes are horrendous. They're just horrendous, folks. My sister, twin sister, said she didn't know where all the black flies went. Well, I think they came here, because she's seen a reprieve in black flies, and I have not. I think they've picked up. So haven't the mosquitoes. So, as you can see, I have some cleanup still left to do. I've got brush piles everywhere. I've got to cut trees to let some more light into some of my bushes, into some of my trees.